Viewers, the fuel price pain is here. Ending days of speculation, the oil marketing companies today increased the petrol and diesel prices by 3 rupees per litre. Now, this comes days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's appeal to reduce petrol and diesel consumption. It breaks the 4-year-long freeze on rate revisions that had been in place since April 2022, since the Russia-Ukraine war. First up, let's tell you how much the prices have gone up across metro specifically. So if you talk about the national capital, then the petrol prices, in fact, earlier were 94 rupees and 77 paisa. They have gone up to 97 rupees and 77 paisa. In Kolkata, it had already breached the 100 mark. It was at 105 rupees and 45 paisa, and the petrol price, in fact, has increased to 108 rupees and 74 paisa. In Chennai, it was 103 rupees 54 paisa. It has gone up to 106 rupees. In fact, there as well in Chennai, 103 rupees and 61 paisa. In Chennai, it was 100 rupees and 84 paisa. In Mumbai, it was 103 rupees and 54 paisa, and it has gone up to 106 rupees and 68 paisa. So this is the impact of the fuel price hike that we have seen today. Many are saying that this is just the beginning, because even after, absorbing so much of price hike, the Brent crude price hike specifically, the oil marketing companies are seeing a big loss in every litre of petrol and diesel they are selling. In fact, government sources have also told us that even after this hike that we have seen coming in today, there is a significant loss on per litre of diesel that is being sold, which is around 60 rupees right now. And there is a loss of about 15 odd rupees in per litre of petrol that is being sold by the oil marketing company. So losses are still continuing. Now, government sources are saying while the world increased the prices, India continued to shield the consumers for as long as possible. This is what the government sources have said on the fuel hike that has come in today. According to government sources, India is the visible exception. This is the first hike that has come after 76 days of complete absorption. Brent, in fact, has remained above $100 per barrel in May, in April, as well as the first part of May. It continues to remain above $100 per barrel. According to government sources, the oil marketing companies limited the increase to 3 rupees per litre for now to continue this cushion for the citizens of this country. It's a modest 3.5% increase as compared to other economies where the increase is in the range of 20 to over 100%. And government sources say that the prime reason behind the rise in retail prices is disruption around the Strait of Hormuz, and oil marketing companies are losing around 1,000 crore rupees on a daily basis. And this is the first revision that has happened in nearly 4 years. And listen in to the reactions that we got earlier from Oil Minister Hardeep Puri, and also what the RBI governor had to say, because indication was always there that there is going to be a price hike sooner than later.
Let me tell you categorically, we have no supply side problems. Today, the country has more than enough stocks of crude oil, LNG and LPG. We have ramped up our domestic production of LPG, which used to be 36,000 metric tons per day. We have now taken it up to 54,000 metric tons per day. And also, be very clear that this prolongation of this is creating a fiscal strain. My oil companies are losing 1,000 crores a day. Their under recoveries are in the tune of nearly 1,98,000.
So you heard, viewers, indication was there that there is going to be a price hike sooner than later. Now, many are saying that this is just the beginning because, like I said earlier, there are still losses that the oil marketing companies are facing right now on selling every litre of petrol as well as diesel in different parts of the country. But let's also tell you how this hike compares to the hike in other countries since the war began. In India, petrol prices have increased by 3.2%, diesel prices have gone up by 3.4%. 4%. But if you look at other countries like Myanmar, petrol prices are up by almost 90%. Diesel prices have seen a rise of over 112%. In Malaysia, 56% hike in petrol prices, 71% hike in diesel prices. In Pakistan, 54% hike in petrol prices, 45% hike in diesel prices. In the UAE, 52.4% increase in petrol prices we've seen, and diesel prices have gone up by 86.1%. If you look at the United States of America, even there the situation is no different. Petrol prices have gone up by 44.5%, diesel by 48%. In the United Kingdom, petrol has risen by 19.2%, diesel by 34.2%. In France, too, there has been a 20 to 31% hike in petrol as well as diesel. In Germany, 13 to almost 20% increase there. And now compare this with what India has done. By the way, the prices that we mentioned just now for you, this is the rise that we have seen in these countries since the beginning of the war. And for India, this is the first increase since the beginning of the war. That's 28th of February. Now, opposition is raising questions. Opposition is slamming the center and raising questions on Modinomics. Listen in.
The Modinomics has failed. The foreign policy of India has failed. Mr. Modi has been globe-trotting without any consequences of benefit for the nation. And because the election was going on, they had not announced. As soon as the election was over, they have announced. We knew it. We have been telling it from day one. While Mr. Modi says, save petrol, save fuel, you need to not buy gold. But his ministers say, no, nothing to worry, we are energy surplus, or we are energy reliant. The Prime Minister should come out in the open, speak to public, speak in Parliament on the real situation of the crisis that we are going to face.
This fuel price hike is due to the incompetence of the BJP government. The oil prices were deregulated during the UPA era, 2013. The BJP opposed it, but still they continued with the policy when they came back to the government. The meaning of this deregulation is that whenever the crude oil prices go up, the fuel prices will go up, petrol diesel prices will go up. Whenever the crude oil prices come down, the petrol diesel prices will also come down. But whenever the crude oil prices went up during the BJP government from 2014, the fuel prices risen. But when the crude oil prices came down, the fuel prices did not come down. They were artificially kept at a higher price by charging extra duty. Don't allow the common man to suffer. The salary of the common man remains stagnant, whereas the fuel prices keeps rising. And this is not just about the people who are using vehicles, not the direct consumers. It will have an all-around effect.
Fuel price rise, we will check the impact on the society, on the economy. What is the impact? We will check the liability of the people also. Then we will implement corrective measures within our limit. You know that the state government is having certain limits, but we will.
और आम लोगों से पूछना चाहता हूं, बंगाल के लोगों से पूछना चाहता हूं, बीजेपी को जिताया, उसके बाद मिला क्या? 3 रुपए डीजल और पेट्रोल के दाम बढ़ा दिए गए। उस समय तो बड़े जोर जोर से अमित शाह और नरेंद्र मोदी बोलते थे कि बड़े हमारे पास स्टॉक पड़ा हुआ है, कोई कमी नहीं है, कोई दाम बढ़ेंगे नहीं। इससे पता लगता है कि इनकी दोहरी राजनीति है। लोगों को लूट रहे हैं, इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं। जब रियायत देनी चाहिए थी, जब दाम कम थे क्रूड के, तो 16 बार एक्साइज बढ़ाया, तब दाम कम नहीं किए। तो आज अगर खाड़ी के देशों में युद्ध हो रही है और आपने चुनावों के में कहा था कि हम दाम नहीं बढ़ेंगे, तो दाम क्यों बढ़ाए गए? लोगों के पेट पर लात क्यों मारा जा रहा है? भुगतिए, ये सरकार है, जैसी सरकार रखेंगे वैसा पाएंगे।
And viewers, amid the backlash, we have now responses coming in from centre as well. Here's what union ministers have responded.
बहुत गंभीर सवाल उठा है। हर भारतीय को भारत का नियम कानून तो मानना पड़ेगा और मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट को तो बिल्कुल नियम के अंदर ही काम करना पड़ेगा। जो सवाल उठा है वो गंभीर इसलिए है कि हर मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट को अगर विदेश दौरा में जाना है तो लोकसभा या राज्यसभा का जो सेक्रेटरीट है वहां 3 सप्ताह पहले सूचना देना होता है। और विदेश मंत्रालय और गृह मंत्रालय को भी सूचना देना होता है। गृह मंत्रालय को विशेष करके जो फॉरेन कंट्रीब्यूशन रेगुलेशन एक्ट के तहत अगर कोई विदेशी हॉस्पिटैलिटी एक्सेप्ट करना है तो जानकारी देना होता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again demonstrated his compassionate nature. All of you were speculating huge amount of increases, and you know the West Asia crisis, the Strait of Hormuz crisis. Despite all that, I think it's a very moderate, reasonable increase. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just made some humongous achievements in a short visit in UAE. We've agreed to do a strategic petroleum reserve which will bring more security to India. There's also some contracts related to LPG investments, many areas of mutual cooperation which will hold the country in good stead.
Let's now move on, and we have some big breaking news coming in at this point in time. Amid Prime Minister Modi's prudent speech, Supreme Court in fact has introduced fuel-saving measures. Only, in fact, we see hearing on some days judges to carpool, and there is also going to be work from home for staff. The Supreme Court in fact has introduced a series of fuel-saving measures, including mandatory virtual hearings for certain categories of cases, carpooling by judges, and partial work from home arrangements for some staff members. This is in line with Union government's fuel conservation measures. Let's go across to my colleague Dipankar, who is joining us live right now for more on this. Dipankar, give us more details, and from when are these new fuel-saving measures likely to kick in?
Well, yes, it is a big move from the Supreme Court, where today an office memorandum a circular was issued by the Supreme Court, where it was very clearly mentioned that on the miscellaneous days, that are the Fridays and Mondays of each week, and other partial working days, the Supreme Court will be operating from on a virtual basis. VC links are to be provided to all the advocates, and they are directed to appear through virtual conferences only. The judges are also considering a carpooling system to be initiated amongst themselves. They are considering that as well. The court has also directed the registrars of the Supreme Court to give 2 days mandatory work from home to all the staff. 50% of the staff would be available working from the office, but 50% of the staff on any given day would be provided work from home. So these are the measures that the Supreme Court has issued the circular, and the court has very clearly directed the registrars to create a roster so that this may be implemented from Monday, that is the next working day of the Supreme Court, since Supreme Court remains off on Saturdays and Sundays. So from Monday, these measures would be kicking in, and the court will be proceeding in a virtual basis after this office memorandum has come in from the Government of India.
All right. After the Delhi Chief Minister yesterday announced a series of measures for Delhi government employees, now there are some fuel-saving measures that have been announced by the Supreme Court as well. Thank you, Dipankar, for the moment, for joining us with your inputs on this story. In fact, viewers, we also reached out to people on the ground, people at the fuel stations in different parts of the country, to understand how are they seeing this fuel price pain. Here's what the Janta said.
This is a very big surprise for common man throughout the country, where 3 rupees has been increased on diesel and petrol. We are at Andheri petrol pump nearby Andheri station, and you can see people are coming over here. We will try to speak to some of the people over here at the petrol pump, but first I'll try to show you the rates which has been put up today in the morning. What is the rate of petrol in Mumbai? Petrol is 106.58 rupees. Speed petrol is 115.75 rupees, with diesel is 93 rupees, and CNG is 84 per kg. So 3 rupees has been increased by the government.
पेट्रोल प्राइस और डीजल प्राइस जो बढ़ा है, उससे आम आदमी को बेशक दिक्कत आएगा। ऑटोस, आम आदमी ऑटो पे चलता है, आम आदमी बस पे चलता है, इन सब में दिक्कत बहुत ज़्यादा आएगा। लेकिन मेरा ये पॉइंट है इस चीज़ में कि मैं बोलूँगा इसमें सरकार भी कुछ नहीं कर सकती, क्योंकि ये ईरान वॉर जो चल रहा है उसकी वजह से ये सब चीज़ें हो रही है। अब सरकार इसमें अभी भी मुझे लग रहा है कि सब्सिडी जो प्रोवाइड कर रही है, जिसकी वजह से 3 रुपये कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं पड़ रहा। अगर अब उसके अलावा दूसरे नेशंस में देखोगे वहाँ पे ज़्यादा परेशानी आ रही है। हाँ, थोड़ा बुरा टाइम चल रहा है अभी, लेकिन आई होप कि आगे जाके सब ठीक हो जाएगा.
They are not giving value to the common man now. They are only for the economists. So this will be a very big effect. The 3 rupees increased in. It will be a great effect for the transport. Also will be getting higher. People seems to be not happy in this condition because their pocket will be now tiered off of 3 rupees has been increased, and this will affect common man widely throughout the country. But in Mumbai, the financial capital, also over here, it will be a very, very difficult situation for the common man.
Now we are standing here at the petrol pump, and I would also like to show you the visuals here, as currently there are some people who have come here to fill up the tanks of their vehicles. However, as today morning this news has come that how the petrol and diesel prices have been gone up by ₹3, how much impact it is going to create upon the lives of the common man, that we would also like to see.
वो तो हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि काफी यानी बढ़ने की वजह से हमारे काम पे भी काफी फर्क पड़ गया.
And viewers, earlier I also in fact spoke to Mr. Rajiv Kumar, a renowned economist and former Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, on the possible impact of this price hike on the Indian economy. Here's what he said. Petrol and diesel prices have been increased by 3 rupees per litre. Your first reaction? We know it was inevitable, but did you expect prices to go up by 3 rupees?
Wonderful to be here, and my first reaction actually is that this is lower than what I had expected. That's I'm being honest about it, because given what's happening to the global oil prices, with the Brent going up to 110, 120, and now around that level from about 80, and then the shortage of supply because of the hormuz crisis. I was expecting a higher rise, and so I think the government is trying to calibrate it, and therefore I'm not being a carrier of bad news, but a little more, some price hike. I hope it doesn't happen, but could come, subsequently.
Okay.
Therefore, this is very mild. This was inevitable, as you say, and I think all of us must accept this is the price of the West Asia crisis.
Can I ask you, you said that you expected it to be much higher, the price hike. What was the range were you expecting?
I was expecting between around ₹5, and could be, and for example, petroleum could have been up to 7, and diesel could be lower, because diesel's impact through the economy is much higher through the transport sector and the cargo and all of that. So, and the petroleum prices really are, the petroleum use is mostly consumption, our private vehicles and cars, etc. So therefore, what could have happened is to hike the petroleum prices more and keep the diesel prices a little lower. And also the gas prices, because gas is kind of a necessary consumption item now, is one of the essentials. So, but therefore, by keeping them both at the same level, I think government, as I said, is trying to bring in the inevitable, but in a gradual manner.
As an economist, what is that one solution or an advice will you like to give to the government of the day to deal with what we are facing right now?
The one advice, because the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, also talked about gold, is to now create some incentive structure for households to start monetizing their gold. India is reputed to have 25,000 or more tons of gold, which is actually in some sense a dead capital. So I think, and the governments have been trying to bring this gold out so that it can help the economy. And I think now is the time for a deep review and a very practical set of measures being framed to assure to somehow incentivize the households to bring forward the gold into the market so that it can help the country in many ways. So that's my advice, that time to now activate a gold monetization policy such that it works and that the households become a party to it.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. A pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now today.
Thanks a lot. All the best.
Thank you.